Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. X is still out on assignment. Hopefully, we'll have him back for a couple days on starting tomorrow. But until then, we are live, local, and ready to get things rolling right here on your home for Alabama sports. It's an all live stream show right now. Having a few technical difficulties back over at the station. As soon as they get that figured out, we'll welcome them into the program. Until then, it's still a Tuesday morning, and that means that we have DC Capstone Report in on the program with us. So we'll make all of that work as well. If you're on the live stream, you can still jump in on the live stream chat with us, and we work that into the conversation. Otherwise, it's going to be a great day. Remember that this is the day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice, be glad in it, take some time to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Good morning, DC. How you doing, sir?
Oh, good morning, Martin. Doing well this morning. How about you?
Doing well. The beauty, DC, of technology is a beautiful thing when it works.
Yeah, it's always good when it works, and so I don't have much confidence in our connection this morning, but I hope I can stay on for the entire time.
Yeah, it's working. It's working good now. And if you're out there in the listening world, just communicate and let me know if you have any issues hearing DC this morning. But it sounds like it's coming through loud and clear so far. DC, as we get ready to head into the football season, it's kind of hard to believe, DC, that we're right up on the tip off or kickoff to the college football season. But there's a couple things, DC, that's kind of happening out there in the sports world that's not really related to Alabama kicking off. And I want to get your thoughts a little bit more around Rhett Lashley. And he kind of, I guess, in some ways defended the SEC and tried to take a stance on his statement regarding the SEC and what he meant by it. I'm gonna let you listen to what he had to say and then get your reaction to that. And once we, hopefully get the other people connected on the live stream, we'll jump back into Alabama kicking things off officially tomorrow. Here's Rhett Lashley addressing him actually being added back into the college football playoffs, into the playoffs, and why he felt like they deserved it.
Yeah, I'm glad you went there because lost in a lot of what I said last week. There was three main points. One of them being, I think we need to reimagine what the college football playoff looks like. Look, we have the greatest sport out there. I mean, college football is awesome. I think in our country, it's the NFL and it's college football. Look, I respect committees. To your point, last year, it went our way. We got in. We were on the bubble. The year before, it was a 4-team playoff, but we were one spot out of getting in a New Year's Six Bowl by the committee. So we've kind of been on both sides of it. The committee has a hard job. I think we need to reimagine. I think 16 teams is best, and here's why. Because I think more teams, more access for more players and more fan bases, which we exist to serve the players and the fans. We don't have to add a week to the season. As a matter of fact, I agree with Dan Lanning. Let's slide everything up a week. We can still go 16 teams in the same amount of time we did 12 teams, just nobody gets a bye. We still get the on-campus exposure, which I think was phenomenal. And then I think the second thing, and this is the hard one, we need to not have committees. No other major professional sport and no other big-time sports entity picks their contestants through a committee. Coaches like myself and others shouldn't be politicking for our teams down the stretch. It should be decided on the field. And so I'm not one of those who necessarily believes in a lot of imbalanced automatic bursts either. I know y'all have talked about that. Like, let it be decided on the field like it is in other major sports programs. leagues. And then I think the third and final, if you did that, depending on how you want to do it, you could set up for that championship Saturday at the end of every season to not only be championship Saturday in the 4 major conferences, but could be play-in Saturday within the 4 major conferences, which would allow college football to have a standalone Saturday, no NFL. It would be the biggest sports Saturday in America.
DC, your thoughts?
Well, I think it's just what he's lobbying for is a way to pick the playoffs without having people involved, and I'm not sure that that's going to be in college sports it's hard to do that. I think he made a generalized statement that no other sport does it. I think we've been doing it in basketball for a long time, trying to put the right people in the right place. How you do it is I guess the proof is in the devil is in the details, I guess, on how all this works out and who gets where. There's always going to be somebody feel like they're left out. I mean, all the way back to the early days, I remember of those making the final 2 were always somebody left out. The more opportunities you give to expand the playoffs to more teams, then you have a ability to get more teams in, but you're still going to leave the 7. If you got 16 teams, the 17th team is going to think they should have got in. If you got 64 teams, the 65th team is going to think they should have got in. So there's always going to be somebody out there who's never going to solve that problem. But I think what he was doing was trying to what he was actually doing was trying to I guess explain his comments that were made earlier. And I guess what I go back to, Martin, is I find it interesting. It seems to me like every other league that had a media day had something to say about the SEC. And when you have that going on, everybody's talking about the SEC at all these other places when it's their week or their weekend to talk about themselves. It just lets you know how important and how big and how good the SEC really is.
And I agree with that, but I do kind of like his philosophy, DC, in the sense of, and I think it works for basketball, DC, because the reality of it is, basketball is kind of a tournament-based sport, and you have the ability to absolutely, without a doubt, you're gonna get teams in, and there's always, as you say, somebody's gonna argue, but for the most part, you have enough teams. In football, to me, you can leave out some good teams just based on the conference they're in. With the way the college football playoff world works, you could have a second or third team that is better than the first couple teams in other conferences, and they're going to get left out. So I like the plan out on the field. The only thing he said, 16 teams. To me, I think if you think about this, DC, if you were to take 3 from the first and second place team are really playing not to get in the playoffs. They're playing for seeding. And then the only place the committee comes in is where the final seeding goes. But whichever one team wins the conference gets the highest seed. Then the next conference gets the second high seed. In the third and fourth game, the 3 and 4 team in the SEC would play for that third spot. And then you have one Power 5 team get in, and then you have 2 at large. I think that would be fun. Now I'm gonna tell you, I would love to see that weekend, DC.
Well, I would love to see that weekend. He was right about that. That was one thing he said that would be exciting for everybody.
Yeah, that weekend would absolutely be like game changing. So it looked like we've just added the radio crew into it. You're in with Martin Houston and DC on the Martin Houston Show, the Sound of Alabama Sports. And we were just waiting for you guys to get in, so we went back and listened to Rhett Lashley on the Paul Feinbaum Show, kind of clearing up what he was trying to say about SEC. And he's right. It's only been 6 teams win, DC, but that's a lot out of a conference.
Yeah.
He made that sound like that's not a lot, DC. When you look at the pros, how many teams in conferences have never even made it to the Super Bowl, never won a Super Bowl? He made that sound like that's a bad thing. That just means that you have 6 dominant teams and the other teams don't get in because that doesn't mean that it's not deep. It just means that it's heavier at the top. Your closing thought?
That's exactly right. Great. That's exactly right. What he was saying didn't hurt the SEC in my opinion, because I mean you had 6 teams that won the championship. That's great. We have a lot of good teams. We have some great teams, and so I think he was just helping the SEC. I didn't take it as a slap against the SEC. I think it's great to say that we've had 6 teams that won the conference. What other conferences have had 6 teams win the championship?
Yeah, and he should have went to the Big 10 and the Big 12, where what has been, just because a team has occasionally jumped up there is what he's saying, I guess. But anyway, that was Rhett Lashley. We're gonna flip to the other side when we come back. When we come back on the other side, we're gonna flip over to Alabama tomorrow morning. All camp day, Alabama starts things off. We invite you to get in on the conversation on the empowerment, leadership, and solutions hotline. This is Martin Xavier, followed by Box Eye Care. We have BC. We have someone report in. We invite you to get in on the conversation right here on your home for Alabama Sports. We'll be back on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very good morning to you on this Tuesday. Well, so far, we're starting out pretty much on the light side. I do see where McFarland at 37th Street, that intersection, it's slightly busy for the time being. Otherwise, we move smooth on Lurleen Wallace. It's green for go in between Jack Warner Parkway and McFarland. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. The Tide 100.9 WTBC 1230 Sports Radio studio is presented by Be Dry Alabama. Be Dry waterproofing. Online at BeDryAlabama.com.
Crispy chicken's better in a Taco Bell taco or burrito or both. Try Taco Bell's new crispy chicken taco and or burrito today at participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only. Contact store for availability.
It's Alabama Campers Grand Opening Event in Tuscaloosa. Find new Forest River, Keystone, Salem, RVs, and Sprinter fifth wheels. You'll find a great selection of new and pre-owned RVs, front living, rear living, 2 entry options, and more. Many with low or no down payments. Experience the great outdoors. Alabama Campers Grand Opening, 5126 McFarland Boulevard East in Tuscaloosa. Easy financing and top-tier service at Alabama Campers and online at alabamacampers.com.
Got timberland in West Alabama or East Mississippi? North River Timber Company has you covered. Since 2011, Courtney White, a registered forester, along with his expert team, have been managing timberland and harvesting timber across 4 West Alabama counties. They offer comprehensive timber management plans, reforestation services, and appraisals. Courtney White says timber is like money in the bank. Don't let your investment go unrealized. Call North River Timber Company today. Email them at northrivertimberco@gmail.com or call 205-242-5127.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius or 2 half geniuses and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, I'm Martin Houston, and I want to tell you about exciting news happening at Box Eye Care. They moved to their new location, bringing you a brand new lab, stylish new frames, and a fresh look just for you. Enjoy their expanded frame inventory, competitive prices, and faster service, all with the same great level of service you've come to know and trust. Discover this full-service eye care at Box Eye Care's new location. With their in-house lab, they offer unbeatable value and one of the largest frame collections in town. Schedule your eye exam today and walk out with new glasses in less than an hour in most cases. Visit boxeyecare.com. That's boxeyecare.com or call 205-342-0660. That's 205-342-0660. Visit them at 5003 Oscar Baxter Drive. That's Box Eye Care. Your vision, our priority.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Partially sunny and hot today. A few spots could see a shower or storm this afternoon or this evening. The high today 96, tonight's low 77. Tomorrow a mix of sun and clouds, scattered showers and storms more numerous. The high 93. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 78 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. It's a Tuesday morning, which means we have DC Capstone Report in with us. X is still out on assignment. Welcome to all of you who are listening in radio land. Don't forget, you can always jump in on the conversation on the Empowerment, Leadership, and People Solutions hotline at 205-342-9904. We quickly hit Rhett Lashley, and I do want to get your thoughts, DC, on the Trump executive order. Here's what Coach Nick Saban had to say about that, and then I'd like to get your response as well.
President Trump's executive order takes a huge step in, providing the educational model that has always been what we've sort of tried to promote to create opportunities for players, male and female alike, revenue and non-revenue, so that they can have development as people, students, and develop careers and develop professionally if that's what they choose to do. President.
And he also had the following, just a follow-up to that.
I think we sort of need to make a decision here relative to, do we want to have an education-based model, which I think that the president made a huge step toward doing that, or do we want to have universities sponsor professional teams? And I think most people would choose the former.
All right, DC. I guess the quick question there is, what are your thoughts? What is Saban saying there? And remember, if that's fixed, then what got him out of the game might bring him back to the game. We'll start another rumor, right?
Yeah, I think he went ahead and cleared it up that he wasn't going anywhere back to the game. But I think this has been going on for a little while. Coach Saban's friend Joe Manchin, when he was senator, behind the scenes had some things to do about to bipartisan stuff, both across the aisles. This was a subject that everyone could get their teams behind, and he was building some momentum on bipartisan. The coach then began to talk and be the kind of the spokesman for that, and getting in Trump's ear when he came to the University of Alabama to do this commencement. I think he had a meeting with him at that point in time. Trump then said, "Hey, you're going to serve on this committee if we get something going," and all that was kind of working in the background. Those things happen before executive orders are ever done. A lot of times, there's two reasons executive orders done. One is when you don't think that Congress is ever going to act and do anything, and two is when you know the Congress has a bipartisan a way to get to somewhere, but they just can't act on it right now. And therefore, it's not going to be controversial when you do an executive order. So I think all that, knowing the political side of things and why it came about, what you see in that executive order is probably what they've all discussed would be the best for college football. And I think you'll see some outliers come out against it, of course, because when President Trump does anything, there's somebody against it. And they will say it wasn't for the players, it was for the institutions. And the supporters of it will say, well, it was for the game, the good of the game, and that sort of thing. But in reality, what it does is try to put some guardrails up. The one thing that Coach Saban's always said, we need some kind of guardrails. so that there's not this quote unquote wild, wild west with the collectives paying players just to come to a place. And this is more of a guidelines to make, you can make the money and make all the money you want, but it has to be within the framework of actually sponsoring or getting money because of your name, image, or likeness, and keeps you from making it equal to everyone, but paying those players who have the name, image, and likeness to in order to gain that kind of income. So I think that's basically what it is.
Yeah, and Greg Byrne didn't hesitate to pretty much throw out. I think he threw out, just letting everybody know this is going to lead to sports being cut. He pretty much came out and said that he named the Olympic sports, and that that male and female. He said only two sports bringing in revenue and $40 million off the table to cover $40 million worth of losses in the other sports. And you just can't, when you're already $40 million loss, DC, and then now you're going to pull at least let's say that they take the House settlement, you're still $18 million down.
You're still short.
Yeah, you're still short, and that's with if you were able to put all that to the bottom line. If you turn around and you pay out another $20 million, you're now at $60 million in the hole. If you turn around and pay all of that money out, so it's going to get bad for some other sports before it gets better. I think, unfortunately, that's the cost, and a lot of people want it, pay for play and all of that. Well, capitalism calls for some hard decisions. Whether you like them, love them, or hate them, ask Colbert. So anyway, DC, you're the coach for the day. You practice. You've been waiting all summer to get your team on the field. You're the coach for the day. Who you going to watch? What group you going to watch, and why?
Well, I think first of all, isn't it exciting that we get to start talking about really playing football on the field? I mean, that's great. I think that's one thing perspective you need to understand. These coaches and these players are loving and passionate about the game, and they're going to be excited tomorrow to go out. But I think the number one thing as a coach that you want to see is you want to look at everybody and you want to see their condition, right, Martin? I think you want to see. It was great for the team to hold together after spring, no one transfer, and meaning they're bought in. Well, does that translate to the field now? Is everyone coming in tip-top condition? And you can speak to that, right? The first day of fall camp, didn't you know the ones that worked during the summer and the ones that didn't?
Well, we used to have tests. I don't know if they still do or not. We actually had tests when we reported, DC.
Right.
And, I can tell you, DC, the test didn't always necessarily mean you didn't know the material. I'll give you a great example. Coach Curry's not my freshman summer, but my redshirt freshman summer, I reported my first year at 248, DC. Did pretty decent on the test. The next year, I reported at 220. I think it was 225 or something like that. And I went, DC, from we had to run 4.40s in 60 seconds, and we had 60 seconds rest in between. In other words, it was an 8-minute mile with 4 minutes of rest time, if that makes sense for you.
Right.
I made the first one. It was a full speed, a 60-second 440 for me, DC, was a full-fledged sprint. It wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to happen.
Right.
And I went, and Coach Curry used it. Like, I was slotted at that point. I was third on the depth chart behind Kevin Turner and Wayne Shaw. I was the third guy on the depth chart. When we came out the next morning, DC, I wasn't on the depth chart with the offense. I was on the scout team depth chart. I had to go practice with the scout team. I had to run extra every day. We had 3 days. I had to run after the second and third practice.
Right.
By the time the season started, I said I was 230 when we reported. When the season started, the first time I ran out on the field against Memphis, I was 218. And he called me in the week before the season started and said, "Listen, I thought you would quit. I really did." He said, "Well, what I put you through, I really thought you would quit. This is on a Monday." He said, "I'm proud of you. You didn't quit." But now by this time I had made it back to third on the depth chart, DC. But hadn't really got to practice with the ones or twos much at all. And he said, "But you're not going to play. I'm not going to play you. So don't look to play this week or anything like that." I said, "Okay." The next day, unfortunately, my friend Wayne Shaw broke his leg. And that week against Memphis, I got to play. I didn't get to play much. The first time I went in, Saran scored a touchdown on a toss sweep, and I was back out of the game. The second time I went in, Saran scored a touchdown on a dive play. So my first 2 plays at Alabama were touchdowns by Saran Stacy. And I think I ran I ran 2 more plays. I got to carry the ball once. And then the next time I played was against Kentucky, and I scored a touchdown. So it was kind of funny. I had played like 5 or 6 plays in my career. It had been in on like 3 or 4 touchdowns. So it was pretty funny. But yeah, the test proves it, DC. I don't know if they'll do that or not, but you hope everybody has put the work in. And even though I didn't pass the test, I had put the work in.
And I think that sometimes the coaches are looking for that. They're looking to see is the concepts that you learned in the summer, did you do what you're supposed to do to translate to the field when you come out in the fall? So I think that's the first thing they're going to look for today. And then, of course, I think they're going to look at the quarterback. They're going to start trying to find that person who's going to be who's made the most strides between the spring ball ended and the fall. And then that'll be translate to every key position. You'll go from quarterback to running back to wide receiver to tight end to the offensive line. And they'll look to that on offense, and they'll do the same thing on defense.
Yeah, without a doubt. Overall conditioning, as you said, I think I heard you say in there you go look to that quarterback room and kind of filter out from there. And with the way they do the off seasons now, man, they get so much more work as skill positions, and you can see tremendous jumps between players. We didn't have quite as much practice time and structured, I call it installation, as they do now. You don't see as much jump for the hog mollies, the guys in the trenches, but skill position, you can see DBs and wide receivers and things like that pick up such skill in the passing game, DC. So that's going to be exciting to watch. As we get the break here, come back on the other side, DC, I'll get your thoughts on, now you're a fan coming back, who you going to watch, which is totally different than what you're looking for as a coach. We'll get that. Then we'll get into a little deeper conversation. We also have Pat, and I think Pat wants to talk some recruiting, so we'll slip him in on the other side. You listen to the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. That's DC Capstone Report. We'll be back on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very good morning to you on this Tuesday. Well, so far, we're starting out pretty much on the light side. I do see where McFarland at 37th Street, that intersection, it's slightly busy for the time being. Otherwise, we move smooth on Lurleen Wallace. It's green for go in between Jack Warner Parkway and McFarland. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
I'm attorney Stephen Mizrano. Did you know that insurance companies will only offer you pennies on the dollar for your injury? When you're in a wreck, you need an attorney who knows the law and will fight for you. I don't back down from the insurance companies. You need to hire a proven attorney who will win. My firm will fight to make sure you get the compensation you deserve. Call 800-8000 or visit mezwins.com. I've got this.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
365 24/7. You'll find road and utility crews, tow trucks, law enforcement, and first responders working along Alabama's roadway.
We're making improvements and helping our communities stay connected.
We're working hard to make sure you're safe on the road. Now we need your help to make sure we're safe too.
Alabama's move over law requires you to move over a lane when you see flashing lights on the roadside. And if you can't safely move over, please slow down.
Visit drivesafealabama.org. Brought to you by the Alabama Department of Transportation, Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Taco Casa, quality, taste, and value under the biggest cactus in town. They've been doing it the right way each and every day for 50 years and counting. If you're looking for a great option for lunch and or dinner, then you need to check out Taco Casa. Taco Casa, and while you're there, don't forget to get a big glass of that sweet tea. Visit them online at tacocasa.com. That's tacocasa.com. Quality, taste, and value on the biggest cactus in town. That's Taco Casa, tacocasa.com.
Are you receiving unemployment? Your benefits could be at risk. Here's how you can protect yourself and your benefits. Never respond to mail notifying you of a false claim in your name. Never answer a text message asking you to verify your account. And only respond to official Alabama Department of Labor's social media pages. Report fraud at labor.alabama.gov/fraud. Brought to you by the Alabama Department of Labor, ABA, and the station. The Alabama Department of Labor is an equal opportunity employer program. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request to individuals with disabilities. Dial 711 for TTY accessibility.
Aaron Lewis and the State Liners. Country boy, it's all I'll ever be. The American As It Gets Tour. Saturday, October 4th, Pearl River Resort Silver Star Convention Center. Tickets on sale now at pearlriverresort.com. More at aaronlewismusic.com. I'm American as it gets. Aaron Lewis and the State Liners. American As It Gets Tour.
Houston Hydrosteam. That's Houston Hydrosteam. Quality work you can stand on. Whether you're looking for carpet and upholstery cleaning, oriental rug cleaning, residential or commercial water damage, and a whole lot more, you need to call Houston Hydrosteam at 205-553-9460, 553-9460, or visit them online at houstonhydrosteam.com. And once again, Houston Hydrosteam is quality work you can stand on.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. Hey, listen, if you're struggling to build better people, stronger teams, and a championship culture, many times you've probably had to deal with what we've referred to in the past as conflict. I don't think it's conflict. I think it's a friction zone. And what is that? It's a predictable, repeatable area of tension caused by the differences in how people think, work, lead, and communicate. When these differences collide, it's just like having an international border, DC. Different generations have different languages and different values and assumptions and rules, different cultures, different ages. All of these different things kind of fight against becoming a cohesive team. Well, if you want to learn how to deal with that, it's called friction zone management. It focuses on behavior in motion in real world and context and leadership environment. Remember this, teams don't break down because of who people are. They break down because no one manages who they are together. And we can help you figure out how to build championship teams that will lead to the results and goals that you have as an organization. That's empowerment, leadership, and people solutions. Friction zone management. It's a new paradigm shift in leadership. You can't find it anywhere else. Go to martinhouston.org/book me to book an appointment and figure out how to do more. And DC, and what I love about this concept that God has given me on this teaching is it really doesn't matter what organization you're in, whether it's building a sports team, building a business, or in family. Friction zones exist, and how you manage them will determine whether you're able to reach your goal. What do you think one of the biggest friction zones for Alabama is going into this season?
Well, I think you're going to have you call it a paradigm shift, but I think they always say they turn the page from the past to the present. And I think that last year we had a friction zone in the culture that was trying to be built, and not saying anything bad about Coach Saban, but just having to move from that leadership to one leadership to the other. So I think the biggest thing this year in the very first few practices, you'll see has the culture changed. Has it been that paradigm shift, as you call it, to get away from that friction zone? So I think if that still exists, that can fester and cause even a small portion of your team to be that way can still infect the entire team. Yeah. So I think if we moved away from that, then that's a big hurdle to jump over to get to the next. Now, there'll be other smaller friction zones between philosophies of the new coaches and the younger players and all that. And that's got to be melded together throughout this fall practice. But I think the biggest one is, have we moved past that big friction zone last year to cure that culture issue?
Absolutely, that's definitely one of them. And unmanaged friction zone leads to fractures in your team, and we call them cliques or silos or whatever. And Alabama definitely was fighting that battle. One of the big ones, of course, was at the quarterback position, and we'll come back to that. Do we think we'll see more of that? So we can get Pat in and out, and we can get back to that specific to camp. Let's go ahead and get Pat in. Pat, you're in with DC and Martin. What's on your mind?
Good morning. DC, how you doing this morning, man?
You're great, Pat. Always good to hear from you.
Yes, sir. Now, what do you think about Tank being in Tuscaloosa this weekend and not in Auburn, Alabama, and he wasn't in Nike camp, and he wasn't out there at the Texas A&M. They call it the Nike camp out there in Oregon. But he was in Tuscaloosa. Is he understanding what I talked about, that his money after football is to be made in Tuscaloosa and in the state of Alabama? I guess he understood. What do you think?
I think, Pat, you're on to something. I think when you my Uncle Bud used to tell me, pay attention to what's going on. When there's smoke, there's usually fire. So what you're seeing is evidence of his lack of presence at other places, and his presence at Alabama is a good lean toward where his heart is, or where his passion is, or where he wants to go. And sometimes that can override the dollars when you're looking for the future and seeing where your best fit is for you to maximize your NFL chances. And so, I think there's a good chance for Alabama. I think that's a good thing. What you're talking about.
Yes, sir. But I'm excited. But Auburn keeps meddling with our recruiting class. Of course, I guess if they really don't want to be here, then maybe we got to move on. I can't understand much down there at Auburn.
Well, like you said, if they can get you away, then your heart wasn't in it. So you'd rather have someone here that's continually Alabama than someone who's riding the fence.
Yes, sir. All right. Hey, y'all guys have a blessed day. Thank you, Morton.
Senior season loading. What's your mindset going in?
I feel great. I feel like we're very young, but getting the younger guys up the pace, so I feel good about the season.
Is it Seems like we've known you forever. Does it seem like it passed fast or slow?
Yeah, it definitely did. It passed by very fast.
Tell me about your goals for this year. What do you want to see happen?
Really being consistent, winning games, just not getting injured, getting the younger guys up the pace, like for them to play on Friday nights and stuff like that, and just winning.
All right, so you're narrowed your choices now to 3, right? Oregon, Alabama, Texas A&M. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Where are you on that? Or do we have a commitment coming soon? What's that look like?
Yes, sir. Like in the next 2 weeks.
In the next 2 weeks?
Yeah.
How do you break those 3 down?
Really just relationships, being comfortable, great school, like academics, life after football, and winning and stuff like that.
Yeah, but you definitely want to get a commitment in before you start the senior year.
Yes, sir.
Why is that important to you?
Really just like I can focus on my team, focus on like my school year and stuff like that, and get out.
Well, hey, DC, that was actually Pat was talking about. That was actually Tank Jones right there talking. You also have to listen to what he says. It sounds like he's thought about this pretty good. I think Alabama gets a check on all of those things he said was his criteria, DC.
I do. Like I said, if you hear somebody talk, they usually tell you what they're thinking. And I think he's talking about something comfortable, something life after football, and something to maximize your potential. I think that point's good for Alabama.
Absolutely. So anyway, that was just Tank. Since Pat brought that up, we hit that real quick. But back to Alabama, DC. We were talking about friction zones, and of course, I think last year one of the friction zones that manifested itself and was ugly at times. I think, and I can say more behind the scenes than even what we saw publicly was the quarterback room. And the quarterback room falls under what I call the wild card zone, DC, which means that there's some things that affects every industry, like people, processes, and technology. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, what sport you're in, what team you're building. If there's people involved, you're going to have issues with people, processes, and technology. Wild card zones are those things that's specific to like a specific program or team. And last year's Alabama's big thing was the quarterback room. Now, DC, we're still in the same boat. In some capacities, we're still in the same boat in terms of having a quarterback, backup quarterback, looking for that. But do you think this team has less friction within the room, but yet more friction in terms of what they're trying to get accomplished between the performance on the field?
Well, I think less friction in the room. But I think one of the things when you're talking about the friction zones and the wild card of this, the quarterback room is unique, in my opinion, in this team's concept. And the reason for that is you're talking about leaderships and friction across the board and among members. But within the team, the quarterback provides leadership to the team as well, not just the coach. And so that is a hot spot, if you will, that if the friction is there, it's hard to contain it to spread. Other places, if your friction is in the offensive line or the wide receiver room, the running back room, it is not harder to contain and maintain, because the leadership that the quarterback provides for the entire team, everyone's looking at him, if you will. And I think it's sometimes last year, I'm just being honest, I know the friction took place off the field that most people are not aware of. I'm aware of, and we saw it sometimes on the field, and that led so many other players on the team into more friction, if you will. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you look at
I think that is going to be different this year. I don't think that's going to be I think any friction that's within the quarterback room is only going to be what I would call that good friction, and that is where iron is sharpening iron, actually. When you have some friction that helps the other players. So the friction that exists in the quarterback room right now, I think is different than the type of friction we had last year. I just think that last year's friction was a friction that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way on the team, and you lost a lot of leadership, or it went a different direction.
Yeah, I can remember in the Tennessee game, these years we get to break, Ryan Williams was obviously frustrated, and you're thinking, you're the one being targeted, and you're frustrated. Just imagine what the other guys were feeling during that moment when they weren't being targeted. So it's definitely a management issue. I'll come back on the other side, DC. I want to get your thoughts on real quick on what you want to see from a fan standpoint. Let's just break down who you got in terms of your starting lineup rolling out there. Most positions are pretty obvious, but we'll break it down and go through that on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very good Tuesday morning to you, and we are still nice and quiet around the area. And so far, so good on McFarland. If you're traveling from Watermelon to 43, no worries there. You will get a bit of a bunch up right there at the Lurling-Wallace intersection, but that's just a red light, pretty much. Also, moving on 2059, you have no worries in between McFarland and Joe Malisham. It's wide open. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell.
Shop Townsend Nissan today. Fair, fun, and fast. The right products at the right place. That's why people shop Townsend Nissan, Scotland Boulevard, Tuscaloosa.
The Tide 100.9 WTBC 1230 Sports Radio studio is presented by B-Dry Alabama. B-Dry Waterproofing. Online at bdryalabama.com.
If you want way more food for way less dollars, you've got it with Taco Bell's $5, $7, and $9 Lux Cravings boxes. From classics to favorites to new items like the crispy chicken burrito. Get more for less. Only at Taco Bell. At participating stores, which vary. Limited time. Drinks exclude freezes. Tax extra.
Hi, this is Gene Poole. And this is John Poole. At Hudson Poole Fine Jewelers, being locally owned means more than just business.
It means cherishing the relationships we've built and the trust you place in us.
We consider it a privilege to be a part of your life's significant occasions, and thank you for the opportunity.
To help you select that perfect piece for your engagement, anniversary, or birthday.
Come experience the difference of shopping local. Visit Hudson Poole Fine Jewelers, downtown Tuscaloosa, or at hudsonpoole.com.
Upgrade your learning experience during Dell Technologies Back to School event with AI PCs like the Dell 14 Plus featuring an Intel Core Ultra processor starting at $749.99. Supercharge your studies with features like real-time notes transcription, AI accelerated hardware to run multiple apps without slowing down, extended battery life, and more. That's the power of new AI PCs with Intel inside. Discover a smarter way to learn at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
365, 24/7. You'll find road and utility crews, tow trucks, law enforcement, and first responders working along Alabama's roadway.
We're making improvements and helping our communities stay connected.
We're working hard to make sure you're safe on the road. Now we need your help to make sure we're safe too.
Alabama's move over law requires you to move over a lane when you see flashing lights on the roadside. And if you can't safely move over, please slow down.
Visit drivesafealabama.org, brought to you by the Alabama Department of Transportation, Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
It's Alabama Campers grand opening event in Tuscaloosa. Find new Forest River, Keystone, Salem, RVs, and Sprinter fifth wheels. You'll find a great selection of new and pre-owned RVs, front living, rear living, 2 entry options, and more. Many with low or no down payments. Experience the great outdoors. Alabama Campers grand opening, 5126 McFarland Boulevard East in Tuscaloosa. Easy financing and top tier service at Alabama Campers and online at alabamacampers.com.
Are you receiving unemployment? Your benefits could be at risk. Here's how you can protect yourself and your benefits. Never respond to mail notifying you of a false claim in your name. Never answer a text message asking you to verify your account. And only respond to official Alabama Department of Labor's social media pages. Report fraud at labor.alabama.gov/fraud. Brought to you by the Alabama Department of Labor, ABA, and the station. The Alabama Department of Labor is an equal opportunity employer program. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request to individuals with disabilities. Dial 711 for TTY accessibility.
The sound of Bama Sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. We're powered by Box Eye Care. It is a Tuesday edition of the program, and it's now time for the Harvest Church 2-minute warning. Harvest Church, where we love God, love people. We love the opportunity to love on you. Check us out on Wednesday nights, 6 o'clock, Bible study, meal and message time. We'll start the meals back up next Wednesday. And then, of course, join us on Sundays as well at 9 a.m. Bible study, 10 a.m. Word and Worship. So, DC, tell them where they can find you, sir.
DCCaptionReport.com, DC Caption Report Facebook page. You can follow me on Twitter at DavidGott50 and check out Lance's other sites for OldTimeBama.com and FreelancePictures.com. As the fall practice gets started up, you'll be seeing our podcast coming back on a weekly basis in about 2 weeks.
All right, DC, we got a couple guys jumping in from Ocala to Hattiesburg, Tuscaloosa, Columbus, Georgia, and others. Danny Dykes down off in South Mississippi in the Hattiesburg area. Tell them what your biggest concern is.
Going into fall practice, my biggest concern is the culture mainly. That was my biggest concern last year, and it's what cost us 2 games. And if that culture melds, at least 2, yeah. If that culture melds in the first week to the second week of practice, we'll be able to see that culture coming together, and that is what I'm looking for the most. To see that culture come together, because I think that is the missing piece, the missing link. And I think with Ryan Grubb's addition, I think it's going to go a long way to making that happen, as well as giving Coach DeBoer an extra year. So that's the main thing I'm looking for.
DC, I know we said we could just start in lineups, and we got plenty of time to do that. A lot of teams a lot of articles and magazines and posters have Alabama somewhere between 6, 7, 8, finishing the season, preseason. Do you think that's an indictment on the coaches versus the roster versus inexperience? What do you think is driving that? Because to me, this is a minimum top 5 team based on what I've seen.
I think it's just the coaching culture. I really do. I keep saying that word, but I think it's them seeing what happened last year, and can Coach DeBoer get the ship turned in the right direction? You know, he has had success at every stop he's ever made in his second year to do that, and I don't expect anything less at Alabama. And I think they're just selling him short on that. Can he do it at Alabama?
So yeah, with that said, right now PFF has him as like the number 7 coach behind Kirby, Ryan Day, Dabo. I don't understand the Dan Lanning thing. He's not done anything. He inherited a really good program. The 85% win record showed that you just probably hadn't played enough good people. Marcus Freeman, Steve Sarkisian, Kalen DeBoer. The top 3 guys you can't argue with. I probably put Dabo 1 or 2, even though people hate on him. But anyway, DC, what you got from the starting lineup for that defense?
Well, on the defensive side of the ball, I think there's more chances for people to play on the defensive side of the ball. I think in my mind, the offensive side of the ball is pretty much easier to determine who's going to be the starters are. But I know in the back end, you come back to the back end, it looks like safeties should be set with Bray Hubbard and Keon Sabb, wouldn't you think? Yeah. I think that's pretty well set. And then you come back up with your cornerbacks, that's pretty well set. But then when you get into the deep linebackers, is Deontay Lawson really fully recovered? If so, him and Justin Jefferson. You got the new transfer coming in there. There's a chance for some young guys to contribute there as well, depending on who can step up. And then I think the question is, there's so many players that could contribute on that defensive line and that hybrid position of rushing the quarterback. And so who's going to be the ones to really inch themselves in the lineup? I look for Quay Resall, LT Overton, Tim Keenan to really be the ones that are the leaders on that defensive line. But there's room for others to contribute as well.
DC, who makes the biggest contribution, Dejon Lee or Xavier Mincy?
You know, I think Xavier Mincy is poised to make the most because he's been in the system a year under Coach DeBoer, and I think he is poised to make the biggest jump this year.
And I mean, on the offensive side, we'll get to all of this. We have plenty of time to knock it out over the next month, fully a month from today. But who you got at that left guard position, Dewberry or Vandermark?
I got Dewberry starting at the left guard, and Vandermark's kind of like a guy who can play all positions, so across the front. So I think he'll be like a utility guy.
All right. Well, that's DC Capstone Report. Once again, tell them where they can find you, DC.
DCCapstoneReport.com, DC Capstone Report Facebook page, and you can follow me on X or Twitter at DavidCott50.
All right. And who sponsors you, man? We want to make sure we give them a shout out.
Yeah, Karen Cottingham, realtor right here in the Williams Group at Keller Williams. She has been my sponsor since for a couple of years now, and she's doing a great job for all your real estate needs. Contact Karen Cottingham at 205-887-4008.
All right. Hey, I'm Martin Houston. That's DC Capstone Report. That's Chase Brumfield. Thanks to all the callers, listeners, and chatters for chiming in all over the world. We're live local right here in Tuscaloosa, but we reach around the world. Thank all of you who jump in on the app, on stream, podcast, live stream. We appreciate you and those over the radio airwaves. We'll be back tomorrow with more of the same and a lot better. It'll be a hump day edition. I'm Martin Houston, and remember this, just in the Lord always, ain't not young understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct the path. Roll Tide, everybody.
Roll Tide.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.